I'm at 3831 Mengel Drive in Dayton, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, bellies, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. The access point is the rear center stack, the main stack, and we'll be pushing hopefully all the way out to the main. And as we go along, we'll make note of anything that I feel is necessary. So you can see here is the access point. You can see we're in the center of the basement here. So the stuff above ground is cast iron based off the age of the house. I expect cast iron until it exits the house, and then it should switch over to clay or possibly concrete, but most of the time it's clay. Cast iron is a little bit of a weird material because you know it rusts, and so there's really no perfect lifespan. I think roughly they expected it to last for about 75 years, but in most cases you're just looking for obvious holes. You can never really tell how thin or thick the pipe walls are. If you have it above ground, it's usually a good indication, but it can be affected by soil conditions, among other things, the thickness of the cast iron itself, and the quality that it was put in. But this all looks pretty good. It doesn't look as rough as, a lot of times you'll get some mineral deposits, and a lot of the rust buildup can be pretty heavy. This all looks pretty wide open. Here's the transition at the foundation where we're going into clay. Clay is a good material. Mainly what we find there is the main thing that we find with clay lines is some root intrusion. It's usually due to the packing around the joints breaking down over 60 to, in some cases, 100 years. And then a little bit of roots get in, but it's pretty common. There's also very short sections. Clay comes in 3 to 4 foot sections, so there's a lot of connections. There's a lot of opportunity for intrusion. Looks like a little bit there. It's kind of hard to tell. It doesn't look active. If that was some root intrusion, it didn't look real active. Didn't see any finger roots that you could identify clearly. That's what it looks like. It looks like a root intrusion, but it doesn't look real active. I don't know if used to be a tree in the center of the front yard that's no longer there.
off the footage, we should be coming up towards the main here soon. And there she is. So I'm going to rinse the camera head off a little bit. There's a little bit of haze on it the whole way out, and you can clear it, but sometimes grease from kitchen lines gets on there and it kind of makes it to where they don't, kind of hazes over after it gets rinsed off sometimes with the water running. So structurally the line looked really good. A couple spots looked like some old root intrusion. It didn't look active, but it is something that yeah, see that as soon as the lens gets rinsed off and then it hazes back over, we'd be able to see anything, but usually the lens is a little clearer than that. They haven't invented one of these with a windshield wiper on it yet, so. It stays clear for a split second, and then you kind of so yeah, we do have a little bit of, like I said, I think that's previous root intrusion. There was probably a tree in the front yard at one point, and it's been long enough ago that there was some root intrusion, but it's no longer active. Yeah, I think that's the most I saw here, 56, 57 feet there. It's driving me nuts. Yeah, see, it almost looks like if they were active roots, you would see individual finger roots, almost like little hairs coming down out of that grouping. And when they're not active anymore, they get covered over with the debris from the line, and it doesn't actually, like, you can't see individual. I want to get a real good look at it so kind of show you, but that was at about 56 feet there. Keep trying it. Seems like it's getting worse now. I haven't seen any solids in the line, which is good. It means everything's escaping well. You see a lot of these little lips in the line, like where it's just a little bit raised up. That's normal. It's been there since the line was installed. A lot of times they didn't use fittings with clay with the short sections, and the male-female ends they can get a lot of turn out of just slightly offsetting and rotating the pipe in the connections. So I am actually going to turn on some water. I'm going to pause the video for a second. I'm going to see if we can run some water. But I don't think there's anything. Yeah, go on. Yeah. I'm going to run some water in the upstairs bathroom so that we can watch how it functions through the cast iron on the interior. Hopefully that'll keep the lens be a little easier to keep the lens clear.
Should be coming.
There she is. Alright, so go back. But for cast iron, this looks pretty good. I believe the house is built in the 60s. So,
50, what did you say? 54?
so okay, 50. So it's really good for that age. I mean, it could have been descaled at some point, but that's kind of a, depending on the plumber you talk to. Some people like it and some people don't because you can't risk damage to the line, but this line looks wide open.
That's good news.
It's a little heavy. There we go. As far as cast iron goes, especially from the 50s, it's like this is in really good shape. I haven't seen any areas of concern. Everything looks wide open. It's flowing free and clear. The only thing we saw on the line as we pull back out of the clean out, the only thing I saw of any concern at all was, it really wouldn't be a concern, just of note, is the slight bit of old root intrusion at 44 and 56 feet, which, like I mentioned, I believe is just from an old tree that is no longer there. You could do a reinspection in a few years to check root growth and see if it's progressed at all, but I think that those roots are no longer active and shouldn't cause any future problems. So, but structurally the line looked great. I didn't see anything of any major concern. So that'll end the inspection at 3831 Mengel Drive in Dayton, Ohio.